Hello, New World gamers. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. And as you can see, I'm in a new place. I got a new setup. We got new things going on. Lots is underway over here for me. And you can see, got a vicious lion in the background. Hopefully that isn't a distraction. But today, I want to talk to all of you about how we can best prepare for the May patch as a healer, right? We had all our May patch stuff last week, but this is healer builds will be changing. There's some significant things happening. And so how can we best prepare? What build can you use and how can we gear that? So before we get started, if you have any questions, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm starting at 8 a.m. now going until 4 p.m. Central Time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch, and that's at Lemoni TV. If you need anything, drop a comment, hit me up in Discord, all that good stuff. And if you need absolutely anything, just let me know in some fashion. Now, let's get into this. The first thing I want to talk about is build. So how will I be building in the patch? As everybody knows, we're on PTR right now. LE is being nerfed, right? So instead of 30% per buff, it's 15% per buff. So what does that mean? It also has a cast time now. This cast time is the exact same cast time as Divine Embrace. Great. Right? But Divine Embrace heals for 120% weapon damage. Yes, it costs more mana, but this point brings it down to pretty much a comparable amount. This 15% weapon damage, for us to get equal to Divine Embrace, we would need about 3 buffs in order to overheal, so we'd be at 125% of Divine Embrace. So you'd have to have, an orb and one other buff on them. Because we'd get the recovery, we'd get the fortify, and something else, right? And that all depends on what is all counted as a buff by LE, and we need to do some more testing on that as live comes, just to really see what we can do to affect this. But for the most part, should be your healing buffs. There could be some weird things that maybe we don't really know about that just didn't make sense before. But regardless, what does that mean? So essentially we have 2 of the exact same ability, exact same cast time. One has a slightly longer cooldown, and when you have refreshing gear, it doesn't really matter. And then it just costs a little bit more mana. What am I going to do? I'm going Divine Embrace. I think Light's Embrace is not the move anymore. I think there's way more potential with Divine Embrace. I can simply pull it out, not have to worry about buffs being on the target, and I will heal them for 120% weapon damage, and then all of my modifiers start to kick in. Right? If I'm running Orb, I have Mending Protection, I have my Intensify, I have Divine Blessing, I have Sacred Protection, I have all of these over here like Bend Light and Protector Strength, and these all influence Divine Embrace. So I don't have to worry about buffs. I can just simply DE and we're good to go. Now, why else is DE good? Well, in general, what I'm going to say is we're going to still be taking our same tree for the most part. I'm still not taking Mending Touch because removing debuffs is just rough. And we're going to go here, here, and here. So we'll still take this normal spot, but at least we don't have to take Enchanted Justice and we don't have to take Mending Touch now. And what will I do instead? I'm actually going to put 1 into Shared Struggle, 1 into Divine Blessing, leaving me with 6 points to go onto the Protector side. Why is this so good? Well, Shared Struggle, essentially you get a second Divine Embrace if there's a target within 8 meters, and that's a pretty significant range, especially with grav wells and things like that. And if your target is below 50% health, you will heal an additional ally. Doesn't matter what that second person is at, as long as the person you heal is below 50%, somebody else is going to get a DE within 8 meters. Now, what I will say is I don't know how worth it is to take Rebound, right? So you could get your target is below 50% health, heal 1 ally, and if that ally that is also healed is below 50% health, heal another, meaning you could heal 3 people. But here's the caveat, right? Because we're not running LE, we no longer need Accelerating Light's Embrace on your shoes. Typically, that's where it is because of Sagacious, that's where mine is. And we take Refreshing Divine Embrace. Now, if you aren't aware of Refreshing Divine Embrace, this is going to reduce your cooldown of Divine Embrace by about 50%, which, again, this is a 6-second cooldown, if you heal somebody below 50% health. Now, if we run Shared Struggle and we end up bouncing and we heal 2 people to 50% health, even if we're just healing 1 person to 50% health, with all of our cooldown reduction between Desperate Speed and with Revitalize going and just hitting stuff, it is very easy to get this back off of cooldown if we can just get 1 proc of Refreshing Divine Embrace, and then it's pretty much reset. And by that point, it'll be worthless to really have Rebound and try to hit all 3 people, because we'll basically get a full cooldown reset, especially if you have Refreshing on this. It'll be significantly more, and then you can just cast a second Divine Embrace. So instead of, okay, let's hope we can get the triple bounce, hope for just 1 bounce, get 1 set of reset, and then it should be back online and you wouldn't even have to worry, and you just throw out another DE. As far as the other side goes, I would say bend light. And now it depends. Are you going to run an orb mending build or are you going to run a beacon build? So for me personally, I like running beacon a lot of the time, and I would end up doing something like this. This is my beacon build. Yeah, we do miss this stamina, which was always nice with LE, but again, I just think DE is going to be the premier option if everything stays as far as cast times go. You could still use this, then do just a normal build, nothing would change. But with a beacon build, I think this is the setup I would say that I'm going to use after the patch. If I'm running orb, I would drop the fortify because I'm going to get one pretty much online all the time anyway, and take that. So this is my orb build, and that other one was my beacon build. But regardless, with the patch coming, I think there's so much value in running Divine Embrace, over Light's Embrace, same cast time. You can get this off of cooldown faster than you could potentially get this off of cooldown if you get the proc, and then there is that bonus bounce. So that bonus bounce is the real reason why I like to take it, and you can choose beacon or orb. Now let's just talk about, and again, I'm going to preface this, no gameplay will really be attached to this because PTR, it's not on live. I've been testing it. It works, right? And it is better than the LE in my opinion. But I'm going to go through what I would do for gearing, talk about some of those options, talk about some of the things that are changing that I would suggest as far as like refreshing versus refreshing evasion, and just get into attributes and stuff like that after this. Very brief, very, overview-ish, but I just want to make sure you have everything in order so that you can start practicing and make sure that you can get certain gear pieces to get set. All right, gamers. So let's talk gearing, let's talk attributes, all that good stuff. So that you can get ready for May and all the healing changes. I will say too, something I didn't touch on the build is you can still be an AoE blanket healer running SG, Beacon, and Orb, and I think a lot more people are going to prefer that. So what I'm going to do is cover the gearing for a Divine Embrace build, what I'm running on live, and then how you would run a blanket build as far as gearing goes for the patch. So attributes. This is what I run in OPR. I just 50 focus, like 50 con pump. I put on a full focus food and I'll just go to work. You just pad meters. In OPR, you can play a little bit more aggressive, so I don't really worry about it. As long as you have your rapier, you're pretty much good. And then again, you can play up to 100 if you want. For wars, I would say play to 100 to 150, totally your choice. If you're a blanket healer, you could probably get away more easily with 100 just because you can dump your AoE heals and then dip out. You could, I mean, depending on how evasive you are, you can also do it with your LE build. This 50 con is really not going to matter. The big thing is you essentially get a pseudo resil, so that is there kind of in your back pocket if you want that, but again, your output would be slightly lower. That's all you really need to know for attributes. All right, so on to gearing. Couple things I want to cover. What gear would I say is BiS? What perks should you be using? And how can we best set up our gear for the future, for the patch, getting everything running so that you are ready for May? And how can you get a step ahead? So right now, a lot of people know, what am I running on my gear? I'm going full refreshing. So I have refreshing perk, refreshing perk, refreshing perk, refreshing perk, and refreshing perk. Yes, even in my beacon builder now, I just have these on because it's solid 2 perk, and I didn't need something else, but you can also use this in a blanket healing. But we'll talk about everything that we need to do. As far as net goes, Purify Health and Refreshing would be great. So the Keeper's Pendant out of Dynasty, I'm going to be getting that this week, I promise. It is my goal. I will be getting it. Hardy Sacred Ring, Misty Kismet right now. Apparently there is a earring that drops off of Bane's, the guy that does the Angry Earth trophy, and it has Refreshing Toast, Refreshing Evasion, but apparently it's not dropping above 590. So that's just something to consider. Just WOTA. If you aren't using a WOTA, go get one. And then on Rapier, I need to roll some of these this week. Sunring Riposte, Keen Speed would be great. Sunring Riposte, though, in general, if you can just get that with the Sage roll, is fantastic. Now, first thing I want to talk about, refreshing versus refreshing evasion. After the patch, right, we are going to have significant changes to the way that we are able to roll, use our stamina, and how we should use it based on regen. Even if you have nimble and energy recovery stuff, there is going to be a significant period of time where it takes your energy to come back, meaning we have to be a little bit more conservative with our rolling. So in my opinion, I think after the patch, refreshing is going to be better than refreshing evasion. Now, obviously you can throw in, 2-3 pieces of RE if you really want to, just because you will still have to roll for things like Bend Light, but we are not going to be able to roll the same way we are used to. Therefore, I personally would prefer the refreshing because I don't want to just burn a roll willy-nilly and then have my stamina off when somebody come and gets me, and then I roll and then I'm gray barred and I'm dead. Right? Especially if you're running those light builds and having to play a little bit more safe. I just think it's going to be the move with all the stamina changings. Therefore, I think going Sagacious gear is a really, really solid option. Now, a couple things I want to talk about Sagacious as far as BiS goes. When we're rolling it right now for the patch, we should be going Sagacious head and Sagacious gloves, right? Because one, and Sagacious pants if you're running Orb of Protection in your build, right? Or even if you just want something 2-perk for now. Sagacious shoes, these will be replaced because we won't be running Accelerating Light's Embrace. You should still keep them in the back pocket in case you do choose to run LE, because maybe there's some things we haven't tested and there's ways to make it better than DE. So personally, I picked up a pair of boots with Refreshing Divine Embrace Refreshing for 3K. Go get a piece. This is part of the healer prep. Go find a piece, a boot. Boot would be the ideal spot to put your DE versus LE because this just rolls innately on these, so it's easier to do it and keep it there. Go find a cheap, Refreshing Divine Embrace piece. You could also do chest piece if you really wanted to and switch out some different boots. I'm just trying to save you the most money and get your gear set up the most optimally for gear flipping for different builds. But go get yourself, and I talked about this in my other May patch guide as far as making gold, but go get yourself a solid Refreshing Divine Embrace piece that you can use for the patch and be ready. Now, as far as other things go, again, Sagacious helmet and Sagacious gloves, you will not have to swap out in a light build. This will have Fortifying Sacred Ground, and this will just have 3-perk, right? So that's always a solid option, and you can maintain them everywhere. On your chest, I have Refreshing Flesh. I think this is a really solid one because if you can kind of wiggle in a way where you get the crit backstab, you get a 20% cooldown reduction. So that is really nice. Trying to be sneaky. If you hit multiple people, you can cooldown reset and you're good to go. Pants piece. So I was talking about running Sagacious pants in an orb build. Now this depends too if you're running blanket healing or you're going DE or if you're doing anything. But in general, this is an incredible piece for an orb build. What I would personally do is if I'm running DE Beacon and Sacred Ground or DE Orb Sacred Ground, I would roll my main Revitalizing Beacon piece onto my pants. So in an ideal situation, we have Sagacious helmet, Sagacious gloves, DE boots or Sagacious boots, depending on whatever you're using. And then here we would have either orb or beacon pants. So Shadewalker pants, just roll until you get a solid Refreshing Beacon 3-perk piece. And then you should be solid. Now, in the case that you're running AoE healing, I would probably keep Sagacious pants. And if you're a full-time AoE healer, maybe throw it on your chest piece. Get Beacon on your chest piece for your off piece. That's what my off piece is going to be. My main one will probably have Refreshing Flesh, and then my side piece, if I'm choosing to go blanket, will have Beacon on it so that I can maintain this. And then we have, again, Sagacious helmet, Sagacious gloves, either Sagacious pants or Beacon pants, and then either Sagacious boots or DE boots. And again, all focus. I hope that makes sense, okay? I hope that kind of optimization will help you to, one, have a focus for your gear. A lot of people are always asking, what is BiS? What should I be using? 2, you can prep for it right now on live before the patch comes and be grinding these pieces because let me tell you, it is a pain in the ass to try and get the pieces when they don't drop. It's just my frustration. And you can then be ready. So I hope that gives you kind of a goal, and now you understand how you can set it up for DE. You can set it up like this on live with LE, and then you still have your goal set in place for how you could properly optimize with a BiS set for running Beacon. And again, jewelry, Keeper's Pendant out of Dynasty, going for that. And then with this, just try to get a Hardy Sacred 3-perk ring, something solid. As far as my gems, I go a 10-10 split. I think running that is a really, really solid option. 2 opals, 2 onyxes, and a malachite. That's what I'd suggest. And then these consumables, obviously like tier 5 gem dust, you can throw on your honing stone for extra damage. A lot of people think, oh, does this do extra healing? No, it does more damage. And what's wrong with getting more damage on your life staff? And then what I do for food, I either run, again, focus, straight focus, or I run focus con. And these are getting cheaper because people have been learning about how you can only catch legendary fish with certain setups and treasure chests and things like that. So these are getting significantly cheaper. But just because I love all you, I'll show you what I do. In case you aren't aware, you can pop your stat food and then pop a mana regen food so that you have that mana regen in place. One thing to note about mana regen, does not occur when you are left clicking. So you have to stop left clicking. That's why the change to 300 focus will be very helpful in just giving us solid mana instead of actual mana regen. As far as other BiS things go, I think the important things to know in terms of preparation is get the Refreshing Divine Embrace piece to properly set up your build. But 2, if you are somebody that is running Refreshing Evasion Totally cool. It'll still be good. You just have to play a lot safer than you'd be used to. And so there will be a transition period, but personally, I think running a full refreshing build will be better than an RE build. So if you need to, start flipping your build now, and it should be easy just getting some sagacious pieces and going about doing it that way. Now, if you have any other questions, that's everything I had. I'm not going to show gameplay. I'm not going to do all that because I don't have proper gear. I don't have proper OPR setups, arena setups, all that stuff with the perks in place to really show you how effective it can be. If you want to start practicing too, you can use Refreshing Divine Embrace on live. But for now, if you have questions, I want to see them in the comments because I think there's a lot of things even I'm not sure about yet with the patch coming, how we can best heal, how we can best set up. But I just wanted to put this video out because I think it's important with how many people asking me, oh, what are you doing with the LE nerf? What's going to happen? Well, how do you feel about it? What build are you going to be running? Blanket or DE, you pick, right? And a lot of people with everything that's happening are very, very, very put off by the patch. But what I want to say is hang in there. We're going to have to overcome some adversity. And a lot of people love that healers are being changed and all the healers are very upset. And when we complain about it, people are like, you know what? Healers are unkillable. They're demons and fiends. Grow up. It sucks, okay? But overcome it. It's good to have some adversity, change up your gameplay, be excited. We'll be using a new ability, and we will all work on this together, get through it together, and we will out-heal everybody. So, as always, thank you for watching. I hope this helps you get set up for the patch. I'm excited for the patch. Good things are coming, and just take it easy. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you to every single one of you beautiful people for being you. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.